The day the sky turned dark was a Tuesday. Commander Jai-Ho Kim stood on the bridge of the International Space Station Alpha, watching the massive ship approach Earth. It was 3 times larger than anything humans had ever built, its dark metal surface reflecting no light. "All stations, report," Jai-Ho said into his comm unit. His voice was calm, but his hand shook slightly. "All defense systems ready, Commander," came the reply from Lieutenant Yunaba. "But sir, our weapons, they might as well be toys against that thing." Jai-Ho knew she was right. The International Space Defense Force had been formed just 5 years ago, after scientists confirmed the existence of alien signals. They had 6 armed space stations and 20 fighter ships. It wasn't enough. Not for this. "Open all communication channels," Jai-Ho ordered. "Let's try talking first." The giant ship stopped just beyond the moon. For 3 hours, nothing happened. Then, without warning, a smaller ship detached and moved toward Alpha Station. "They're sending a messenger," Jai-Ho said. "This is good. It means they want to talk." The crew wasn't so sure. Many had families on Earth. They watched screens showing people in panic, trying to leave cities, as news of the alien ship spread. The alien vessel docked with surprising ease, as if it had studied human technology. When the airlock opened, 5 tall figures entered. They wore no space suits, only light armor that seemed to glow from within. Their skin was pale blue, their eyes large and black. Jai-Ho stepped forward. "I am Commander Jai-Ho Kim of Earth's International Space Defense Force. We welcome you in peace." The tallest alien tilted its head. A small device on its chest glowed, and words came out in perfect English. "Your species is primitive. Your resources are now ours. Resistance is futile and will be met with extinction." Jai-Ho felt cold fear run down his spine, but he stood tall. "We are not as primitive as you think. Humans have overcome many challenges. We can work together, share knowledge and resources." The alien's face changed. Its mouth opened, showing sharp teeth, and a harsh sound came out. It took Jai-Ho a moment to realize the creature was laughing. "You misunderstand," the translation device said. "This is not a negotiation. It is a courtesy notice before we begin harvesting your world." "Humans will fight back," Jai-Ho said, his hands clenched into fists. "We always do." All 5 aliens made the same laughing sound. It was high and cold, like metal scraping against metal. It was a sound that would haunt the dreams of those who heard it for years to come. "We know your history," the alien leader said. "You fight among yourselves for small pieces of land. Your weapons are basic. Your bodies are weak. Fighting us would be like ants fighting against boots." Jai-Ho felt rage building inside him. "Who are you? What do you call yourselves?" "We are the Keldari," the alien said. "Remember the name. It will be the last your species learns." Without another word, the Keldari turned and left, returning to their ship. As soon as the smaller vessel detached from Alpha Station, the main Keldari ship began to move toward Earth. "Sir, they're positioning themselves in low orbit," Yuna reported, her voice shaking. "They're launching smaller ships, hundreds of them." Jai-Ho grabbed the comm unit. "All Earth Defense Forces, this is Commander Kim. The aliens are hostile. I repeat, the aliens are hostile. Prepare for attack." On screens around the bridge, they watched as the first Keldari ships entered Earth's atmosphere, heading toward major cities. "They laughed at us," Jai-Ho said quietly. "They think we're weak." "What do we do, sir?" Yuna asked. Jai-Ho's eyes hardened. "We prove them wrong. Send out the emergency signal to all military bases, code red, and send my personal message to the science team in Seoul. Tell Dr. Hae-Nul Park that it's happening. She'll know what to do." As Alpha Station moved to engage the enemy, Jai-Ho knew most of them wouldn't survive the day. But humans had one advantage the Keldari didn't understand yet. Humans never gave up, not even in death. The invasion of Earth had begun. Dr. Haendel Park watched the sky burn above Seoul. From the window of her lab on the 15th floor, she could see the Keldari ships cutting through clouds. Their weapons turned tall buildings into dust within seconds. Dr. Park, we need to leave now, shouted her assistant, Tadwan. Newell didn't move. Her eyes were fixed on her life's work, the neural interface device she had spent 10 years developing. It was meant to help people in comas communicate with the outside world. Now it sat on her desk, small and seemingly useless against alien invaders. Dr. Park, please. Tadwan pulled at her arm. The building shook as something exploded nearby. Newell snapped out of her daze. She grabbed the neural device and a small hard drive from her desk. Get the research data. All of it. Taiwan nodded and began downloading files to portable drives. Outside, the sound of screaming grew louder. 3 minutes until full download, Taiwan said, his hands shaking. Another explosion hit, closer this time. The lights flickered, then went out. Emergency power kicked in, bathing the lab in red light. No time, Newell said. She disconnected the drive, only half full with data. This will have to do. They made it to the stairwell just as the top floors of the building were hit. The whole structure swayed. People pushed past them, crying and shouting. Newell held tightly to her device and the drive. The subway tunnels, she told Tadwan. General Lee said they're using them as evacuation routes. They reached the street level and ran. All around them, Seoul was falling. Buildings collapsed. Cars burned. People ran in all directions. Above, the alien ships moved with purpose, targeting power plants, military bases, and government buildings. A Keldari ground soldier appeared at the end of the street. It was taller than a human, with blue skin and armor that seemed to move like liquid. It raised a weapon. Taiwan pushed Newell behind a turned-over bus just as the alien fired. Where the shot hit, the ground simply disappeared, not burned or exploded, but erased. Their weapons break down matter at the atomic level, Newell whispered, just like Jai-Ho warned us. Who's Jai-Ho? Taiwan asked, breathing hard. An old friend. He sent me a message before the attack. Newell peered around the bus. The alien was moving toward them. He said they're here for resources. They think we're primitive. Well, compared to them, we are, Tadwan said. Newell's eyes hardened. Being younger doesn't make us weaker. It just means we had to learn different lessons. They made a run for the subway entrance. The alien fired again, missing them, but hitting a man who hadn't seen it coming. He didn't even scream. His body simply ceased to exist from the chest up. Underground, military personnel directed people deeper into the tunnels. Newell showed her government science ID and was quickly pulled aside. Dr. Park, General Lee is waiting for you, a young soldier said, leading them through the crowd to a makeshift command center. General Subin Lee looked up from a table covered with maps. She was in her 50s with short gray hair and tired eyes. Newell, you made it. Subin's relief was clear. Did you bring it? Newell handed over the neural device and the drive. It's not complete, but it's something. Commander Kim said your work might be important, Subin said, though he didn't say why. Newell looked around at the frightened people, the injured being treated on the floor, the soldiers trying to maintain order. My device was meant to help people trapped in their own bodies, she said quietly. I never imagined we'd need it for something like this. Like what? Subin asked. Before Newell could answer, the tunnel shook from a massive impact above. They're bombing the city flat, the soldier reported, running up to them. We need to move deeper. Subin nodded grimly. Seoul has fallen. We're heading to Bunker 7. She looked at Newell. Whatever you and Commander Kim were planning, you'll have time to work on it there. As they moved through the dark tunnels, Newell clutched her device. The world above was dying, but in her mind, an idea was forming. A terrible, desperate idea. If the Kildare thought humans were primitive, they were about to learn how creative, desperate humans could be. 6 months after the invasion, Earth was a different world. Major cities lay in ruins. Billions were dead. Those who survived lived underground or in remote areas the Kildare hadn't bothered to attack yet. Bunker 7, deep beneath what used to be the mountains near Seoul, had become one of the largest resistance bases in Asia. 2,000 people lived there in tight quarters, eating rationed food and taking turns sleeping in shared beds. Hanul Park had a small lab in the lowest level. It wasn't much, just a few tables with old computers and medical equipment, saved from hospitals before they fell. But it was enough for her work. Any progress? General Subin Lee asked, entering the lab. She looked thinner than 6 months ago, her uniform too loose now. Hanul rubbed her tired eyes. Some. The neural interface works on living subjects, but that's not what we need. Subin nodded grimly. She knew what Hanul was trying to do. It had sounded crazy at first, using the neural device to temporarily reanimate dead bodies. But after months of watching humanity lose, crazy ideas were all they had left. We captured a Kildare communication device yesterday, Subin said. Our tech team got it working. They're talking about something that happened in Bunker 4. Hanul looked up. Bunker 4. I thought it was destroyed last week. It was, but the Kildare are disturbed by what they found there. Subin played a recording. The translation was rough, but clear enough. Asterisk human base 4 shows anomalous defense patterns. Several human warriors continued aggressive action despite fatal injuries. One subject fought for 3 minutes after chest cavity was breached. Possible unknown biological feature. Requesting research team asterisk. Hanul stood up so quickly she knocked over her chair. They don't know about the neural implants. No, Subin said. The soldiers at Bunker 4 didn't have them. They just kept fighting until they couldn't anymore. Human determination, Hanul whispered. They don't understand it. A loud alarm blared through the bunker, making both women freeze. Perimeter breach, Subin said, grabbing her gun. Level 3. Level 3 was only 2 floors above them. The Kildare had found Bunker 7. Secure your research, Subin ordered. If they reach this level, destroy everything. Hanul nodded, quickly backing up files and gathering her prototype devices. Above them, the sounds of fighting grew louder. Gunfire, explosions, and the distinctive hum of Kildare weapons. The bunker shook. Dr. Min-ho Kang, the military physician who had been helping Hanul, burst into the lab. They broke through the upper levels, he said, out of breath. They have new weapons, some kind of gas. People are dropping before they can even fire their weapons. How many soldiers do we have left? Subin asked. Maybe 30, Min-ho said. Not enough. Hanul looked at her neural interface device. It wasn't ready. The tests on recently deceased tissue samples had shown promise, but they hadn't tried it on a full body yet. We have 15 bodies in the morgue, she said quietly. Soldiers who died last week. Subin stared at her. You can't be serious. The device might work for a few minutes, Hanul continued. Long enough to surprise them. Those are our people, Hanul, Subin said. Not weapons. They were soldiers, Hanul said. They died protecting us. Don't you think they would want to keep fighting if they could? Before Subin could answer, a young soldier ran in. His face was covered in blood. General, they're at level 4. We can't hold them. Subin looked at Hanul for a long moment, then nodded. Do it, but only if they agreed to it before death. Hanul checked the records quickly. 7 of the deceased had signed consent forms allowing their bodies to be used for scientific research. That's enough, she said. Min-ho, help me with the implants. As they rushed to the morgue, the sounds of battle came closer. The Kildare thought humans were primitive. They laughed at Earth's defenses, but they were about to face something they had never seen before. human soldiers who refused to stay dead. The real resistance was just beginning. The morgue was cold and dimly lit. Hae-Newell and Min-Ho worked quickly, inserting the neural interface devices at the base of each deceased soldier's skull. "Will this really work?" Min-Ho asked as he connected thin wires to the device in Sergeant Jun-Seo's body. Jun-Seo had died 3 days ago from wounds received during a scouting mission. "In theory," Hae-Newell said. She typed commands into a small computer connected to all 7 bodies. "The brain still contains electrical activity for a short time after death. This device amplifies and extends that window." The sounds of fighting grew closer. Gunfire. Screams. The strange humming noise of Keldari weapons. "How will you control them?" Min-Ho asked, his hands shaking slightly. "I won't," Hae-Newell said. "The devices are programmed with one simple command: protect humans, attack Keldari." She connected the final wire and stepped back, looking at the 7 bodies on the cold metal tables. All had died serving the resistance. All had agreed to help however they could, even after death. "I'm sorry," she whispered to them. Then she pressed the activation button. Nothing happened for several seconds. Then, slowly, the fingers on Jun-Seo's right hand twitched. His chest rose slightly, as if taking a shallow breath. His eyes remained closed, but his face tensed. One by one, the other bodies showed similar signs of movement. Small, at first, a finger twitch, a shoulder roll. Then more. Jun-Seo sat up. His movements were stiff, mechanical. His eyes opened, but they were empty of expression. The other 6 bodies followed, sitting up and then standing. "It worked," Min-Ho whispered, his face pale. "God help us, it actually worked." Hae-Newell checked her computer. "The neural activity is stable. They should last about 30 minutes before the connections degrade." The door to the morgue burst open. Soo-Bin rushed in, her uniform torn and bloody. "We've lost level 4, she said. "They'll be here in—" She stopped, staring at the 7 standing bodies. "Are they?" "Yes," Hae-Newell said. "They're active and ready." Soo-Bin nodded slowly. "Then let's go. We need every fighter we have." They led the 7 reanimated soldiers through the corridor toward the sound of battle. The bodies moved awkwardly but with purpose. Each carried a weapon taken from the morgue storage, guns that had been placed with them when they died, following military tradition. They reached the main hall of level 5 just as the Keldari broke through the barricade. 5 aliens entered, tall and confident, their liquid metal armor gleaming under the emergency lights. Behind them, human resistance fighters lay dead or wounded. The Keldari raised their weapons, pointing them at Soo-Bin, Hae-Newell, and Min-Ho. "Surrender or be erased," one said through its translation device. Then it noticed the 7 figures standing behind the humans. The Keldari's large black eyes widened. "What is this?" it asked, the translation device unable to hide the confusion in its voice. "This," Soo-Bin said, "is humanity's answer to your invasion." She raised her hand, then dropped it in a signal. The 7 reanimated soldiers moved forward, raising their weapons. The Keldari fired, hitting Jun-Seo directly in the chest. The shot burned a hole clean through him, but he didn't stop. He didn't even slow down. The Keldari soldiers backed up, firing again and again. The human bodies took hit after hit, parts of them burning away. But they kept advancing, kept firing their own weapons. The aliens began making high-pitched sounds, their version of shouting. One turned to run, only to be shot in the back by a soldier who was missing half his face. "They're retreating," Soo-Bin said, amazed. Within minutes, all 5 Keldari were dead or had fled. The reanimated soldiers stood in place, waiting for new threats. Hae-Newell checked her computer. "The neural connections are still holding, but weakening. We have maybe 15 minutes left." Min-Ho stared at the bodies, then at the dead Keldari on the floor. "They were afraid," he said. I saw it in their eyes. They were terrified. Su Bin nodded slowly. Because they understand death. They fear it. She looked at Haenul. And we just showed them that humans have conquered even that. Haenul watched as Jumseo's body finally collapsed, the neural connection giving out. One by one, the others followed, returning to death. Not conquered, she said quietly. Just borrowed time. She closed her eyes briefly. But maybe that's enough. For the first time since the invasion began, they had hope. News of what happened at Bunker 7 spread quickly through the resistance network. 1 week later, leaders from surviving bunkers across Asia gathered in a secure room deep underground. Haenul stood before them, explaining her technology with simple diagrams drawn on a board. The neural interface connects to the brain stem, she said. It can send signals to muscles for about 30 minutes after death. It's not perfect. The movements are stiff, but it works. A resistance leader from Japan leaned forward. You want us to put these devices in living soldiers before they die? Yes, Haenul said. With their consent, of course. The device stays dormant until death, then activates automatically. The room went quiet. General Su Bin stood up. I know how this sounds, she said, but you all saw the reports. The Keldari ran from our reanimated soldiers. They fear our dead more than our living. It's wrong, said an older man from the Chinese resistance. Using our dead like puppets. With respect, Minho said, our dead volunteered. Every soldier who receives the implant knows what will happen. The debate continued for hours. In the end, they agreed to begin what they called Operation Lazarus, named after the man Jesus brought back from the dead in an old human story. The first volunteer was a young soldier named Du Yun Choi. He was 22, with a round face that made him look even younger. Why? Haenul asked him as she prepared the small device for implantation. Why volunteer to be first? Du Yun looked at the picture he kept in his pocket. His parents and little sister, who had all died when Seoul fell. If I die, he said, I want to keep fighting. I want to protect those who are still alive. He looked up at Haenul. Isn't that what we all want? More time to protect the ones we love. Haenul couldn't argue with that. She performed the surgery herself, placing the small device at the base of his skull where it connected to his spine. The scar would be small, barely visible beneath his hair. Over the next month, 200 soldiers received the implant. They called themselves the Lazarus Corps. They wore special patches on their uniforms, a simple image of a rising sun. Then came the mission to retake a small Keldari outpost near the ruins of Busan. 50 human fighters, all with implants, against 20 Keldari soldiers. Haenul and Minho watched from a safe distance as the battle began. Su Bin led the attack herself, charging the outpost with her team. The Keldari had better weapons, better armor. They killed 15 humans in the first wave. But then it happened. The dead humans stood back up. Their movements were jerky, but their aim was still good. They kept advancing, kept firing, even as the Keldari weapons tore through them. Du Yun was one of the first to fall, shot through the chest. Haenul watched through binoculars as his body twitched, then rose. His eyes were empty now, but his hands still worked. He picked up his gun and continued forward. The Keldari made that high-pitched sound again, their version of screaming. One tried to run but was caught by 3 reanimated soldiers. Another sent a desperate message that the humans intercepted. Asterisk, the dead ones are here. They don't stay down. Request immediate evacuation asterisk. Within 20 minutes, the outpost was taken. 12 Keldari were dead. The rest had fled in their ship, leaving behind valuable technology and data. Of the 50 humans who attacked, 35 had died. But all 50 had fought until the end. Su Bin found Haenul after the battle, her uniform covered in blood. Some of it her own. It worked, she said simply. We lost many, but we won. Haenul looked at the battlefield. The reanimated soldiers were finally dropping as their neural connections failed. Medical teams moved in to collect the bodies with respect. Among them was Du Yun, lying still now, his mission complete. "Did we do the right thing?" He Newell asked quietly. Su Bin followed her gaze. "I don't know," she admitted, "but I know what Du Yun would say." She paused. He would say he got to protect his fellow soldiers one last time. For the first time since the invasion, humans had won a direct battle against the Keldari. It was just the beginning. 3 months after Operation Lazarus began, the resistance had grown stronger. Word spread from bunker to bunker, continent to continent. Humans were fighting back, and sometimes winning. In what remained of London, Commander Jai-Ho Kim received Hay Newell's message about the neural interface technology. He had survived the destruction of Alpha Station and made it back to Earth to join the European resistance. "It's working," he told his British allies. "We need to implement it here too." The Keldari noticed the change in human tactics. They began avoiding ground combat when possible, relying more on bombing from their ships. But they couldn't take Earth's resources without setting foot on the planet. One clear morning, a Keldari cruiser appeared above the ruins of Seoul. It was smaller than their main ships, but still massive compared to anything humans had built. It hovered over Bunker 7, which had been abandoned weeks earlier as a precaution. "They found us," Su Bin said, watching from a hidden observation post 10 miles away. "But they're too late." Ha Newell stood beside her. "What are they doing?" The answer came soon enough. The cruiser opened its lower bay, and hundreds of Keldari soldiers dropped to the ground. They were wearing new armor, heavier, with full face shields. "They're adapting," Hay Newell said. "They're scared of seeing our dead faces." The Keldari forces surrounded the bunker entrance. They seemed hesitant, moving slowly. Finally, they entered. Su Bin smiled grimly. "Now." She pressed a button on her radio. Deep underground, in the empty bunker, 200 neural interface devices activated at once. They were not attached to human bodies this time, but to a complex system of explosives. The entire bunker exploded in a massive fireball. The Keldari cruiser, hovering too close, was caught in the blast. Its engines failed, and it crashed to the ground. "Direct hit," Su Bin said. "Now for Phase 2. 5 miles away, hidden under camouflage tarps, 300 resistance fighters waited. Half of them had neural implants. Leading them was Du Yun, who had survived the Bizen battle despite his injuries. "Move in," Su Bin ordered over the radio. The human forces surrounded the crash site. Many Keldari had survived both the explosion and the crash. They formed defensive positions around their downed ship. The battle was fierce. Keldari weapons cut through human ranks. Humans fell by the dozens. Then, as planned, the dead rose again. A Keldari commander watched in horror as a human soldier, burning from energy weapons, continued to advance. The commander shot the human again, taking off an arm. The soldier kept coming, firing its weapon with its remaining arm. More and more dead humans rose, surrounding the Keldari position. Their jerky movements and expressionless faces struck terror into the aliens. For the first time, humans captured a Keldari alive. The alien was wounded, unable to reach its suicide device fast enough. Ha Newell approached the captured Keldari cautiously. It was secured with heavy restraints in a makeshift cell. "Why do you fear our dead so much?" she asked through a translation device. The Keldari's black eyes fixed on her. After a long pause, it answered, "In our culture, death is the final end. The body becomes unclean, dangerous to the spirit. To see your dead walk," it made a shuddering motion. "It is wrong, against nature. You invaded our world," Hay Newell said. "You killed billions of us. You forced us to find new ways to fight. Your species was supposed to be primitive," the Keldari said. "Easy to harvest. You were not supposed to have power over death." Su Bin, who had been listening, stepped forward. We don't have power over death. We just refuse to let it stop us from protecting our home. The Keldari captive said nothing more, but information from its communication device proved invaluable. The resistance learned that news of the death-defying humans had spread among Keldari forces. Some were refusing to engage in ground combat. Others requested transfers away from Earth. For the first time since the invasion began, the Keldari were afraid. That night, as Haynul worked on improving the neural interface, she received a message from Jeho in Europe. The technology had spread. Resistance forces worldwide were implementing Operation Lazarus. The tide was turning. 1 year after the invasion began, the war had changed. The Keldari still had better technology, more ships and powerful weapons. But humans had something the aliens didn't expect, a weapon that attacked the mind, as well as the body. "We need to push our advantage," Commander Jeho said during a global resistance video call. His face on the screen looked tired but determined. "The Keldari fear our dead. We can use that." Haynul and Minho had improved the neural interface. The new version allowed for smoother movement and lasted longer, up to 2 hours now. They could also activate the devices remotely. "We've learned something important," Haynul told the resistance leaders. "The Keldari don't just fear our dead bodies. They fear what those bodies represent, our refusal to give up, even after death." General Subin nodded, "Which is why we're launching Operation Ghost." The plan was simple but effective. In major cities around the world, small teams of resistance fighters would lead Keldari patrols into traps. Hidden nearby would be bodies of fallen soldiers with neural implants, ready to be activated. In Paris, the first test of Operation Ghost began. A team of 5 resistance fighters attacked a Keldari patrol, then retreated into an old subway tunnel. The aliens followed, cautious but confident. Deep in the tunnel, the humans disappeared around a corner. When the Keldari turned the same corner, they found themselves facing 30 dead soldiers, standing perfectly still in the darkness. A resistance fighter named Sophie pressed a button. The neural implants activated all at once. The dead soldiers raised their weapons. The Keldari patrol broke formation immediately. They fired wildly, missing more often than hitting. 3 turned and ran. 1 fired at the ceiling, causing a cave-in that crushed it. Only 1 Keldari officer maintained control. It shouted orders at its fleeing soldiers, then turned to face the advancing dead alone. Sophie switched on lights that had been set up in the tunnel. The bright glare illuminated the faces of the dead soldiers, their empty eyes, their wounds still visible. The Keldari officer fired at the first few dead soldiers, then dropped its weapon. It activated its communication device. "This is Section Commander Drell. Earth forces are using death magic in Sector 7. Request immediate extraction. The dead are walking." No extraction came. The Keldari officer was captured alive. Similar operations succeeded across the globe. In Moscow, Rio de Janeiro, Cape Town, and Sydney, Keldari forces retreated from battles they should have won easily. Resistance intelligence, gathered from captured communication devices, revealed that Keldari soldiers were becoming increasingly afraid. Some refused to leave their ships. Others requested reassignment to different planets. A month into Operation Ghost, the Resistance captured a high-level Keldari commander in the ruins of Tokyo. Jeho, who had traveled to Japan to oversee the operation, interrogated the alien himself. "Your forces are faltering," Jeho said. "Your soldiers fear our dead." The Keldari commander's black eyes narrowed. "The High Command is sending the purifiers. They will cleanse this planet of your abomination." "Purifiers?" Jeho asked. "They carry weapons that leave nothing behind," the commander said. "No bodies to reanimate, only dust." Jeho immediately sent warnings to all resistance cells. 3 days later, new Keldari ships appeared in Earth's orbit. They were sleek and black, marked with symbols different from the regular Keldari fleet. The purifiers had arrived. In Seoul, Hae-Nul received Jai-Ho's message. She gathered her team quickly. "They're adapting," she told them. "The purifiers will try to completely destroy our bodies, leaving nothing to reanimate." "What do we do?" Minho asked. Hae-Nul looked at her latest prototype, a neural interface smaller than her thumbnail. "We adapt too. If they want to leave nothing behind, we'll have to activate our dead before they can be destroyed." Su-Bin studied the new device. "How quickly can you make more of these?" "With help? 100 per day," Hae-Nul said. "But we need to deploy them differently. We need a way to activate them the instant death occurs." Su-Bin nodded grimly. "The battle just got harder, but we're not giving up." "No," Hae-Nul agreed. "That's the one thing humans never do." The purifiers changed the war again. Their weapons turned humans to dust instantly, leaving nothing to reanimate. In the first month after their arrival, the resistance lost ground everywhere. "We need to draw them into a trap," Su-Bin said during an emergency meeting in the new headquarters beneath the ruins of Incheon. "Something big enough to capture or destroy a purifier ship." Hae-Nul had been working day and night on the new neural interfaces. The latest version activated the moment the heart stopped beating. It gave the dead a few precious seconds to keep fighting before the purifier weapons could completely destroy them. "I have an idea," Hae-Nul said. "But it's dangerous, and I'll need to be the bait." 2 days later, the Resistance deliberately leaked information about a main research facility in Incheon, where the creator of the neural interface technology was working. The Caldari intercepted the message, just as planned. A purifier ship arrived within hours. It hovered over the designated location, a half-destroyed hospital that had been prepared with hidden explosives and automated weapons. "They're scanning the building," reported Ta-1, who had survived the past year and become one of Su-Bin's top lieutenants. "Wait until they send ground forces," Su-Bin ordered from their real headquarters a mile away. The purifier ship deployed 30 soldiers in black armor. They moved differently than regular Caldari troops, faster, more precise. Each carried a rifle-like weapon that glowed with purple energy. The Resistance fighters watched on screens as the purifiers entered the hospital. Deep inside, Hae-Nul sat alone in a lab, working on a neural interface as if unaware of the danger. "She's too exposed," Minho said, watching nervously. "We should pull her out." "Not yet," Su-Bin said. "She knows what she's doing." The purifiers found Hae-Nul quickly. They surrounded her, weapons raised. The lead purifier stepped forward. "Dr. Hae-Nul Park, you will come with us. Your research belongs to the Caldari now." Hae-Nul looked up calmly. "My research? You mean this?" She held up a neural interface device. "Yes, the abomination that reanimates your dead. Our scientists wish to study it." Hae-Nul smiled slightly. "You misunderstood us from the beginning. Humans don't fear death the way you do. We fear failing those we love. Our dead get back up because their love and duty transcend death itself." The purifier stepped closer. "Surrender now or be reduced to dust." "I'm not afraid of becoming dust," Hae-Nul said. She pressed a button under the table. "I'm already exactly where I need to be." Hidden speakers throughout the hospital activated, broadcasting a signal. Nothing happened for a moment. Then the walls began to move. Bodies that had been hidden inside the walls, hundreds of them, all with neural interfaces, broke through the plaster and wood. They were soldiers who had fallen in previous battles, preserved and placed there days earlier. The purifiers fired their weapons, turning the first wave of bodies to dust. But there were too many. They came from every direction, through doors, walls, floors, and ceilings. "Impossible," the lead purifier said. "This many dead in one place." "I told you," Hae-Nul said as she was grabbed and pulled to safety by 2 Resistance fighters who had been hiding nearby. "Human love and duty transcend death." As Hae-Nul escaped through a hidden tunnel, Su-Bin gave the next order. "Detonate the charges." The entire hospital exploded. The blast was so powerful it damaged the purifier ship hovering above. The ship tilted, its engines failing, and crashed into the ruins. For the first time, the Resistance had taken down a purifier ship. In the command center, Subin received an urgent message from Jeho in Europe. "The Keldari command ship is moving," he reported. "They're repositioning over Asia. I think they're coming for you directly." Subin looked at Haynul, who had just arrived from the tunnel. "They know who created this technology now. They're coming for you." Haynul nodded. "Good, because I have one more surprise for them." She held up a small device, different from the neural interfaces. "This is what I was really working on, a way to control all the interfaces at once, from anywhere on Earth." "A master control?" Minho asked. "Yes," Haynul said. "Every fallen soldier with an implant, anywhere on the planet, can be activated simultaneously." Subin stared at the small device. "How many are there now? How many implanted bodies?" "Thousands," Haynul said. "Maybe tens of thousands, and they're all about to get back up." The Keldari command ship was massive, casting a shadow over what remained of Seoul as it descended from orbit. It was 10 times larger than any ship the Resistance had seen before, with weapons that could level mountains. "They're here for a final battle," Subin said, watching from the new command center deep beneath Incheon. "They want to end this." Haynul held the master control device tightly. "So do we." Reports came in from around the world. Keldari forces were pulling back, retreating to their ships. Only the command ship was advancing. "They're concentrating their forces," Jeho said over the video link from Europe, "putting everything into one decisive strike." A transmission from the Keldari ship reached all Resistance communications at once. The face of a Keldari appeared on screens worldwide, older than the others they had seen, with pale blue skin marked with silver lines. "I am High Commander Xeeler of the Keldari Empire," it said through the translation device. "I wish to speak with the human called Haynul Park." Subin looked at Haynul. "It's a trap." "Of course it is," Haynul said, "but it's also an opportunity." She stepped forward. "I'll speak with you, High Commander, but I choose the meeting place." The meeting point was set, the ruins of Seoul Tower, once a proud landmark of the city. Haynul would come with 2 guards. The High Commander would bring 2 purifiers. "This is too dangerous," Minho said as they prepared. "They'll kill you instantly." Haynul checked the master control device one last time. "No, they want to understand the technology first. They want to know how we did it." Subin handed Haynul a small gun. "Just in case. And remember, we have snipers positioned all around the meeting point." The ruins of Seoul Tower were bathed in evening light when Haynul arrived with Du Yun and Taiwan as her guards. All 3 wore neural interfaces, though only Haynul's was the newest version. The Keldari ship sent down a small transport that landed nearby. High Commander Xeeler emerged, flanked by 2 purifiers. Xeeler was taller than other Keldari, with elaborate armor that seemed to flow like water when he moved, his black eyes fixed on Haynul. "Dr. Park," he said, "creator of the abomination." "High Commander," Haynul replied, "leader of the invasion." They stood facing each other among the ruins, with the setting sun casting long shadows. "Your technology has cost us many soldiers," Xeeler said. "Our troops fear your dead warriors. Some refuse to fight. This has never happened before in Keldari history." "Then perhaps you should leave our planet," Haynul suggested. Xeeler made a sound, not quite the harsh laugh they had heard before, but something more considering. "We have spent too many resources on Earth to simply leave, but I am authorized to offer terms." "What terms?" Haynul asked. "We will withdraw most of our forces. We will provide technology to help rebuild your world. In exchange, your species will serve the Empire as a client race, and you will never use the death technology against us again." Haynul shook her head. "No, we won't be servants. We want our planet back, completely. We want reparations for the billions you killed. And we want a guarantee that no Caldari will ever return to Earth without permission. Zealer's face hardened. You are not in a position to make such demands. Aren't I? Hey, Newell held up the master control device. This can activate every neural interface on Earth at once. Do you know how many fallen soldiers we've preserved? Tens of thousands. They're placed near your remaining ships worldwide, at key positions, ready to rise together. One of the purifiers stepped forward, raising its weapon. Sealar held up a hand, stopping it. You would use your dead as a threat? Sealar asked. No, Hey, Newell said. I'm offering you a choice. Peace on our terms, or a war you cannot win. Not because we're stronger, but because we'll never stop fighting. Not even in death. Sealar was silent for a long moment. Then he signaled the purifiers to lower their weapons. I will consider your terms. Return to your base. We will contact you with our answer. 3 days later, the answer came. The Caldari agreed to withdraw completely from Earth. They would provide technology and resources for rebuilding. In exchange, humanity promised never to use the reanimation technology against other species unless attacked first. 2 weeks after that, Jaiho and Subin represented humanity at the formal signing of the peace treaty aboard the Caldari command ship. As the ships began leaving Earth's orbit, Hey, Newell stood with Minho and watched the sky clear for the first time in over a year. What will you do with the technology now? Minho asked. Newell looked at the neural interface in her hand. What I always meant it for. Helping the injured, healing the brain, saving lives. She smiled slightly. Not just extending death.